Here are 5 quick tips and tricks to bring your color grading in Davinci Resolve to the next level. Just a few things you can do to add a little bit of extra atmosphere, some more punch and pop, or just some extra oomph. You know what I mean? So instead of cinematic, we want to make it look super cinematic. Now, what does that mean exactly? Well, honestly, it means whatever you want it to mean. But you see, the thing is, the YouTube algorithm really likes the word cinematic in the title of a video. So yeah, there you go. Transparency. Here we go. First of all, a tip that I saw in one of Waqas Kazi's videos. Not sure if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, but doesn't matter. After watching this video, go check out his channel if you want more specialized and advanced color grading info. He's an expert. And so what he says you should do is create a reference gallery with stills, screenshots basically of different movies, series, music videos, different looks that you like, and just keep them all here in your gallery in the color page. Now, how does it work? Well, just create a new stills album and then drop a screenshot on your timeline, go to the color page, and with the stills album selected, right-click in the image here and then grab still. And automatically a still will be added to the selected album. And of course, you can organize them however you want, by movie genre, by color, by looks, whatever you want. Now, why is it important that you create a stills album like that? Well, that's because when you activate a still while you're color grading, you not only see the images side by side, but you also have the waveform information of that screenshot, of that movie still. Also vector scope information, parade. So it'll be a lot easier for you to achieve a similar look because you're not just guessing. You have all the information right there. How clean the shadows look, where the highlights are, how contrasty it is. But also, let's say you finished color grading one clip of your video and you want to match all the other clips, well, stills are super useful. So I've been playing around a lot with this new feature ColorSlice, right? Because I think it's really cool and also a lot more versatile than you might think at first glance. For example, over the past few weeks, I shot a lot of footage of morning skies. But of course, the damn sky never looks as good as it did in real life. When you start importing all the clips, it always looks a bit more dull. And so normally I start playing around with the color wheels and maybe the curves to get some more color and punch in the highlights in the sky. And that works, especially if you combine it with power windows, for example. But I've noticed that using the ColorSlice feature a lot of times is a lot faster and it gives me better, more natural looking results. Look, if I just add some more saturation to, well, in this case, all the warm colors, and then make them a bit more dense with the density slider, look how much better it looks. How it brings out those colors without everything looking unnatural or over the top. So ColorSlice, start using it, start experimenting with it because it's super cool. Okay, so this is a super important one and I discovered it by just color grading a lot and getting frustrated a lot. So a lot of times when you're trying to achieve a specific look from a movie or a series and you're almost there, but it still doesn't look quite the same and you can't figure out what it is because, you know, whatever color or contrast adjustment you do, it doesn't seem to work. Well, then it's probably not the colors you should be adjusting, but start looking at the effects, especially if you're trying to achieve a film look or maybe a sci-fi look, something specific, you know. Effects like prism blur, halation, glow, film grain also will not only add that effect, but they will also make your color grade instantly feel and look different. And more often than not, it's one of those effects that will complete your look, your color grade. And you know, talking about effects, Davinci Resolve has a bunch of effects built in, super cool effects. But what if it's not what you're looking for? Well, in that case, maybe you should check out MotionVFX, the sponsor of this video. They have motion graphics, animated titles, transitions, creator toolboxes, but also effects. And you know, one of those effects might just be the element you need to complete your grade. Everything is drag and drop, super easy to use and customize. Even installing the plugins is the easiest thing ever because they have an app for that. And right now, they also have Black Weeks deals, which means you get 30% off of a whole bunch of Davinci Resolve templates, titles, motion graphics, and plugins. Perfect time to give MotionVFX a try. The link is in the description and the deals last until December 4th, so don't wait too long. Just go check it out after watching this video. Okay, and now next tip. Okay, I think this is one of the basic classic color grading tips, right? When we're talking about cinematic color grading. But still, if you're a beginner, it might be difficult to spot this. You might not notice it when just looking at a movie or an image. So usually the highlights in a movie are never 100% brightness or 100% pure white, and the shadows are never 0% brightness or 100% black. Of course, it depends on how contrasty you want the image, and it's not a rule. And also, you know, these days people are complaining a lot that movies look so dark, like the highlights almost look like middle gray. And I agree sometimes, but the thing is, I just tend to stick with this guideline. Brightest highlights, never higher than around 90 to 95%. Wait, I'll set my waveform here to percentages, then it's easier to see. There, so never above 90 to 95% for the highlights, and the shadows never below, what is that, 2%, let's say? I mean, just look at some of these movie stills. See here, this looks like it might be 100% white, right? 100% brightness, but it's not, it's 95%. And here, these dark areas, there's pretty much no detail in there. It looks like it's completely black, but it's not 100% black. It doesn't go below 2% here, see? And 0% is of course black. So I always start by bringing the highlights down to 90-95% with gain, for example, and the shadows up a little bit above that 2%, and then I go from there. But if it's an early morning shot, I might bring down the highlights even more. See, this one was recorded like this, but that's also not what it looked like in real life. So I bring it all the way down. And if I want a more stylized look, maybe a super contrasty look, then I might go a bit lower with the shadows also. Create a deeper contrast, but I'll never crush the shadows because I don't like that. See, everything that disappears here under this line means that the information is gone. Crushed shadows. And for the highlights, the same, of course. And you know, even if your highlights were clipped during recording, so if there's no detail in the highlights, in a movie, it will usually still be brought down to like 90-95%. It will never be 100% brightness, even if it's like completely white. So just pay attention to shadows and highlights next time you watch a movie. This is actually a trick that I started using, 20 years ago when I was studying photography. I learned this in Photoshop class, yeah. And so I used it for my photography, but it also works for video, no problem. So how does it work? Well, just create a new node and set that node's composite mode to soft light. And instantly it will add more contrast and, you know, it will saturate your colors a little bit more. Now, if it's too much, if your original image already had some contrast, of course you can tone it down a bit just by playing around with the color wheels, lift the shadows a little bit, or, I mean, there's different ways to tone it down, to tone the contrast down again. But then what you can also do, and this is super cool, go to the blur panel and add blur to that node, the node that you set to soft light. And see, it adds this glowy, dreamy, blurry effect without making it look blurry or out of focus. Look, it doesn't matter how much blur you add, it will still look sharp in a way. Now, you can go super crazy if you want, but of course, usually it's best to keep it subtle. And the cool thing is that you can experiment with all these composite modes here. Maybe you'll find an effect that's super cool that no one has ever used. And that's it for today, guys. It's Friday today. I'm gonna play some poker tonight, drink some beers. I hope you also have something fun planned. If not, just watch some more of my videos. I'll keep you company while I'm losing or winning money. I hope it's gonna be winning money. We'll see. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next one. Salut en tot de volgende. Oeh.